I am not the body, but pure consciousness. Self-knowledge gives full contentment in both mundane and spiritual lives. Your search for self ends there. Then you are no more a seeker, which you had become because of your urge to know yourself. Our beingness is made of the three states of waking, sleep, and knowingness. The knower is beyond all these states. In the final stage of spirituality, you will come to know that you are prior to waking and sleep. Tell me which uniform will suit this true nature of yours. Every state has to change after a certain time. Can there be waking alone without sleep, or sleep alone without waking? No. The waking has to go to sleep, and the sleep has to wake up. You must meditate regularly and live with the conviction that you are not the body, but only pure consciousness. Then the spring of knowledge will start flowing from within. A sincere devotee gives all credit to God for every action and its result. That because of which the body functions is the real devotee. One who stabilizes in pure being can be equated to God. The consciousness which is surrendered to God becomes God. The rejection of body identity means end of Maya and becoming pure consciousness. In traditional language, knowing wrong identification means surrendering to God. Meditation means holding the consciousness by itself. All your knowledge is only in the presence of your consciousness. In the morning, when you wake up, you see God as the light of your consciousness. The implied pure meaning of the word Guru is my own Atma, who is responsible for every action. Our consciousness occupies the whole world. A true devotee never accepts being the doer of any action. For ages, God or Paramatman is free of any concepts, including self-consciousness. Hence, while in a human form, he needs devotion. His love for devotion is more than for anything else. If nothing else is possible, you should try to remain in pure being. Have faith that there is no God other than your consciousness. Your behavior should be as good as possible, and that will definitely benefit the people around you. But your attention should be to your inner purity without any expectations of honor and fame. You should not be proud of being a devotee or a jnani. When you donate any sums or do any good work, let it remain a secret. You may use your body for happiness, but do not identify with it. Atma is only a seer and not an enjoyer. Meditate as much as possible on the self. When you remain as consciousness, all your bad qualities will leave you. Let the body remain or drop. Your urge for the self should always be strong. How do people get interested in visiting this ashram? The inspiration comes from God, and only those who are closer to God can come here. You have to be God to be here, but not after you leave this place. With regular, long, and deep meditation, you will have conviction about your true nature. Presently, your caste is consciousness. Iswara means pure consciousness, which is presently in your body. The body has value because of the vital breath, and when it leaves, the body is taken away for cremation. As Atma is everywhere, it neither comes nor goes. Can the space in one room travel to the next room? No. Our pain and pleasure are the result of a rising of consciousness and vital breath. With their separation, all experiences end. The body is not you or your form, as it is your food. If you love to be with your Guru and always long for his company, remember that he is within you as your consciousness and he will continue to be present within you as long as you are conscious. As you are the consciousness which is in all living beings, it is a sin to believe yourself as the human body. Your true nature is so ancient that it is prior even to Iswara, who originated from the primary illusion, which is causeless. When you get up in the morning, the world appears spontaneously, which is also causeless. You come to know you are what you love so much. That is the primary illusion. Without body there is no word and hence no language. Then there is neither the sense of being nor non-being. A sage has said that the seed always comes first, and our beingness is that seed. What we call as our religion is not true, and to be the self is the only true religion. You may do anything, but do it without identifying with your body. Your consciousness itself is the Satguru. It is said that Lord Brahma is the creator. Is he needed to create the worms which appear spontaneously in the cow dung? The creation by Brahma and your ideas about destiny are all mental impressions since your childhood. They are all concepts. The pure and free Atma appears to be bound due to your mental impressions. Only the knower of consciousness and all the qualities can give you the correct knowledge. It is due to Maya that the consciousness is madly attached to itself. This illusion is termed as Guna Maya, just as Atma in the body is termed as Maya. The same is also called Iswara. We come to know of our existence due to the primary illusion. But is it not a quality of sattva? The waking and sleeping states always accompany our consciousness. It is the quality of the primary illusion to try to live as long as possible. It is incorrect to say that the primary illusion loves to exist, because it is itself the love to be. As our true nature is Paramatman, we are beyond all qualities. The beginning of beingness itself is called Maya. Ishvara is the second name for the same. That is Paramatma, who is aware of the non-existence of Maya or consciousness. He is timeless and beyond consciousness, being and non-being. At present he is the speaker and also the listener. When the sattva quality becomes very pure, it reveals all its secret information, like a pardoned criminal who turns into a prosecution witness. The knower of self is called the Jnata or Mahatma. By continuous chanting of the Guru Mantra, the prana gets purified. Thereafter the mind gets purified, followed by the purification of sattva. That finally leads to self-knowledge. Presently your caste is consciousness only, and that is true Guru Deva. Never believe it to be the body. This will amount to insulting your Guru. Of the 5 elements, the subtlest is the space, which ranks second to consciousness. Hence, consciousness knows space, but space cannot know consciousness. All the activities are of prana and not yours. In the body, the prana appears along with consciousness. On leaving the body, prana occupies the vast space. All this knowledge should suffice to reject death as a false concept. The 5 elements in the Lord's Hari and Hara are the creation of the primary illusion. All bodies made of the 5 elements are its creation. How can we be the bodies made of the elements? You come to know your existence because of the consciousness, which you should watch without any word or thought. You have been given the mantra to chant in order to make the mind quiet. Birth and death are false. For one's own sake, everyone desires to live more and more. Why? It is not in our hands to continue our existence the way we want. What is the main thing, which is false? That false thing is our consciousness, because of which we come to know our existence. It is the product of the 5 elements. After knowing everything is false, whatever you do will also be false. When you have no control over your own existence, what control can you have over your actions and the other things? Everything is shunya or zero, and even that is false. Whatever you may do, none of it shall be of any use. Whatever you do will be for yourself, but you have no control over yourself. In other places, where you will be kept busy in activities, you cannot expect to hear such words. The great celebrities of the world, who were once at the helm of things, where are they now? Can you search them out? Those who came had to go. What was absent earlier and is present now has to vanish again. All that is created is false. This knowledge is useless with those who desire to live and accumulate. This is meant only for the seekers of truth. If you drop all your desires, cravings, and fear, you will see yourself as you are in reality, which is worth prostrating to. Your love for yourself is not your action, but it is a happening. You like to exist, but find it difficult to tolerate, and you must do something or other to forget it. Without knowing your existence, there is non-duality, in which there is no trouble. The quarrel starts in duality as soon as you know your existence. What have you done in order to appear in this world? The consciousness has appeared. It is Brahman. It disappears, and it is everything. You have a feeling of being the doer, which is wrong. In order to know your consciousness fully, you have to purify prana by chanting mantra and performing worship. Thereafter we know the self, and our need to exist ends. Then all our activities happen spontaneously. The most important thing amongst the visible and the invisible is our consciousness. Without knowledge of its origin, we realize the self, which may give rise to pride. This needs to be negated. Then what remains is pure vijnana, which is beyond both knowledge and ignorance. Is there any enjoyer of this whole world? What is the use of this world? When I am not, where is my world? I must be present so that my world exists. Here I do not mean an individual but pure consciousness. When you exist, what is your first priority other than to protect your existence? Our consciousness is not limited to our body, but it pervades the whole universe. Take the example of your dream world. I use words and explain so that you are satisfied. In the juices of food made of the 5 elements, there is the seed of knowingness. The appearance of knowingness is birth, and its disappearance is death. You want to survive at any cost, and you are prepared to put in all your efforts for the same. Still you pray and desire God's help. People use consciousness to find everything other than the origin of consciousness itself. The search begins with the question, who am I? When the questioner is absent, who will inquire? Hence, for Paramatma, questions like who am I and who are you are all meaningless. You must remember that your consciousness itself is the proof that Parabrahman exists. That memory will be very useful. Your consciousness is real love and devotion. Be one with it, so that all your pain and pleasure due to knowingness will vanish. Maya means self-love. It indicates that all appearances are deceptive. The compassion and tenderness are only passing phases applicable to that moment. In this world, the infatuation for self-love is the highest. This is the primary illusion, the original enchantment. Your self-love is seen by you as the world. The world is born with your memory, I am, and it vanishes with its exit. There is none present who can die. As long as you do not become one with yourself, your needs will remain and will go on increasing. All the body forms are the spontaneous appearances due to the 5 elements. The elements do not create these forms. It is said that those who have earned religious merit go to heaven. If so, where do animals like rats and donkeys go? There is difference in the bodies of different animals, but after they fall, the condition is the same for all. Ishwara's lock of hair and feet are with you in the form of your consciousness. Except for the attention you devote to consciousness, all other attention directed elsewhere will merely invite trouble for you. Although your consciousness is formless, you always remember yourself to be with a form. Now, worship your self-love without any doubt. Without prana, you do not know you are. Ishwara means pure consciousness in your body. You are not the body, but Ishwara. When you stabilize in pure consciousness, there are no concepts. There will be no fear of birth and death. None has any experience of birth or death, but the fear exists. Is there anything about which you can never have any doubts? Yes, and that is about your own existence. Your consciousness is enough to put what I say into practice. Your consciousness is God as also Maya, which is the power of God. A sadhaka, or true seeker, knows his formless nature. He identifies with the consciousness, which is the only instrument available to him. Our body is just a house. We cannot be the house. One who desires liberation but identifies with the body is called a mumukshu. A sadhaka, who is the consciousness, meditates on it to realize his true being. You say I am, but dropping this I, what are you? That which says I is a human being. That lives because of the consciousness, which has no form. The consciousness is not the body, but it has the taste of being. When the body is not one's form, one cannot be a man or a woman. A sadhaka is a very earnest seeker who does not rest until he becomes a siddha. The mumukshu is interested in God, but the majority of people have no interest in spirituality, and they are called baddha, or the bound. Prior to everything is the consciousness. Who remembers the guru other than your consciousness? Your hunger and thirst are formless. Can you keep your hunger outside so that I can feed it? If the body is absent, who will listen? It is the right time now when both body and consciousness are available. By meditating on the consciousness, you can attain the state of Ishwara. Then there is the negation of knowledge with the help of Maya. The knower of all is a jnani or a siddha. As you believe yourself to be an individual, the pain and misery affect you. If the world becomes your own identity along with its pain and misery, will there be any unhappiness for you? I and mine trouble only the individual, who you are not, as you are what has manifested and vast. The meaning of the word datta is see this directly. God Dattatreya is shown with 3 heads, which indicate the 3 qualities. He has originated from the great and powerful consciousness. Although all three qualities operate in all living beings, they combine to form our sense of being. Our eternal true nature is Paramatma, which is ever awake. Hence, the feeling that we are awake is due to the primary illusion. The same appears as the world. In it, trillions and trillions of living beings appear without any creator or a destroyer. One who is aware of one's being is the essence of great devotion. This is Mula Maya. The three qualities originate in it. It does not do anything, and the doer remains unknown. It is due to Maya that no living being is prepared to die. Due to the intermingling of pure food essence and prana in the body, the sense of being is felt. When prana leaves, there is no beingness. The secret of this must be known, without which there is no escape from the jaws of death. Your sense of being is the quality of the food essence of the body in the presence of prana. When prana leaves, you will not remember anything, including even yesterday. Your feeling of being awake and the world are not two. To realize the truth of this, follow your Guru's command. Your consciousness is accompanied by qualities and finally has to be without attributes. Your prana is responsible for all your activities, including handling your body weight, is it not? At least while going to sleep, pay close attention to your consciousness. Do the same when you wake up in the morning. You can notice the bodiless feeling only for a few seconds. In this world, the most revered is your consciousness. It is worth paying attention to rather than doing anything else. That is called meditation. Although you appear to be the body, you are consciousness. Penance in blind faith cannot help. The seekers who are controlled by their minds cannot progress. Whatever you earnestly feel within you materializes sooner or later. There was only the appearance of me getting caught in the trap of Maya, which does not mean it is my parent. How can the unborn accept the accusation of having been born? The talk about my birth and parents is only abusing me. What has happened without my knowledge? How can I accept it as true? When Krishna talks about the great manifested Brahman and narrates its details, his own being is not without the three qualities. We do not need eyes to know that we exist. The thought, I am, is a kind of sickness which has appeared spontaneously. It is a disturbance in the tranquil state. Here Krishna has pointed out his own current existence as false. All the activities are done by the sense organs. The consciousness, or Atma, is identifying with the body due to sickness. Many diseases come together in the body. The cosmic substance means disorder with the arrival of I am, thought. In reality, what is prior to the appearance of I am is Atma. Here I do not suggest any activity as it cannot liberate you. Instead, you have to listen with full attention. Whatever you know cannot be your true self. What is needed is shrewd discrimination. The penance in blind faith is of no use. The entire nature, full of movable and immovable objects, accompanies our thought I am. It means the thought is never alone. The disturbance in the tranquil state due to consciousness led to identification with the body. This sickness is accompanied by the entire existence. When the consciousness vanishes, nothing will remain. One who realizes that one cannot be the body is a jnani. When one is not the body, there is no scope for hopes, desires, and cravings. Hence, there is no unhappiness. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is a great painter, but he is also a spontaneous creation due to the disturbance in the tranquil state. He is a rare one who has described his own creation. When you grow up from a child to an adult, are you conscious of your growth? It happens unknowingly. You are prior to consciousness and not perceivable by senses. Know that all creation is due to the disturbance resulting from the appearance of consciousness. This knowledge is only for your own information. It will expose the entire universe as an illusion. This I amness is a commotion due to the appearance of the consciousness. The resulting appearance was all a dream, which was seen as the world. Nothing was needed to create the world. Also, there were no efforts needed. What have you done to be able to see your world? In order to solve this riddle, meditate on your consciousness as the Guru's feet. The appearance of consciousness produces the world, which vanishes with its disappearance. When the world vanishes, there are no 5 elements. This consciousness is also called as Maya, Mahatva Hiranyagarbha. We must find out the ultimate knower of all that exists, He, who He is, and how He is. Our hopes, desires, and cravings can be called as our hunger. The activities of life are meant to make the necessary supplies. The ever-increasing population is the result of the agitation due to the appearance of the consciousness. You may spend millions of rupees for wanton pleasure, but there will be no satisfaction and calmness. There is real rest only in deep sleep, when you forget yourself totally. The real rest is only after forgetting I am. Whom should you worship? Meditate on that because of which you come to know the world. That will take you into samadhi, full of tranquility. You can never get through your 5 sense organs. Finally, when you come to know the cause of your knowingness, you will realize your true nature as an ocean of tranquility, complete in all respects. Your disbelief in God does not change facts. Some do not believe in God, and they drop the word Ishwara from their writings. But what knowledge do they have about God? Whether you believe in God or not, the facts remain the same. What do you know about yourself? Do you think about that? When can you be sure that there is God? To be a true follower of Buddha is to be full of tranquility. Is there any happiness or unhappiness in deep sleep? While entering the sleep state, you feel fine. Similarly, when you come to know what you are, there will be no death, but it will be an event full of joy. The word death only means forgetting about being someone. It is getting absorbed in the divine essence which is your true home. You must know the One who illumines the 2 states of waking and sleep, and is also the witness to their coming and going. A rare one amongst millions has this knowledge, and the rest specialize only in concepts. Do you have knowledge of your true form? Your body is not your form, but your food. The mind and intellect are the forms of prana, which is responsible for movements of the body. The knower of all these is a non-doer. Just as there is fragrance as long as the incense stick burns, our sense of being lasts as long as the body essence burns to sustain it. The consciousness is a quality of the food essence, and it cannot be seen or shown. It is the taste I am, or self-love. To realize one's true nature is the direct self-knowledge. What is not direct is the knowledge of its qualities. What is consciousness? It is that which is responsible for our knowledge of existence. One who knows the origin of consciousness becomes the knower. In the initial stages, there is consciousness, which is material knowledge. In the later stages, there is no material, and the knowledge is direct of the self. What do you really have other than the states of waking and sleep? All your activities of the waking state, including flying in luxury class, will give you tiredness. Your waking state itself makes you tired, irrespective of the existence of pain or pleasure. Then the sleep state follows, which means forgetting everything, and that gives real rest. What is the cause of the waking and sleep states in the body? One who meditates on consciousness with full faith in the Guru becomes free of anxiety. You are that what really is. Atmaprem means being fully at ease without any external needs. The need for anything only indicates absence of purity. Man becomes really happy only after forgetting himself and not because of any objects. In spirituality, there is use of a code language, which can be understood only by the Guru's grace. One who goes to sleep and forgets himself, who wakes him up in the morning. Just as it is a spontaneous happening, so also is everything in existence. The devotion to the Guru and total faith in him is a great savior. This faith leads to self, into which it merges. Never try to feel important. Be as small as possible. After listening to all this, if you continue your old habits and suffer, what can your Guru do? The kind of speech due to which you have become aware of your existence is called para speech. The beginning of its interpretation is due to Pashyanti speech. The meaning becomes clear with Madhyama speech, and finally the actual speech is called Vaikari. The silent para speech is responsible for your coming to know your existence. You try to take help of the mind to be happy, but in return you just get more unhappiness. The mind controls all living beings, and they become its slaves. A jnani is only a witness to all the speech, including the highest para speech. One who attains lasting tranquility is already pure Brahman, although he has a body. The cause of your individuality should be known, and the reason for your mad attachment to it. It is your beingness which is responsible, which is not in the world but is its cause. As long as you have not realized, what is your knowledge? You must know yourself without a thought. You should not talk thoughtlessly. The state of Atma is full in all respects. Has anyone understood that when Uddhava talks about the ultimate, in reality he is giving his own information? If you are honored as a guru, do not get infatuated. Is it possible for you to remain quiet, even for a moment? The gabble of the mind starts without any delay. When the mind really knows what it is, it will see itself as the power of God. If any jnani comments on the imperfections of others, it means he has not yet realized the self. Without it, there is no God. In spirituality, there is nothing to gain, nothing to lose, but there is only knowing what is. As you have no form, what is the use of any profit? Whatever you have accumulated as knowledge, throw it away. For self-knowledge, remain still, and do discriminate correctly between the true and false. You are not the body. And finally, you will come to know that you are not the consciousness either. You must be that which says that it is not the consciousness. This is just what is to be known. The consciousness comes along with the body and at the end forgets itself. There is no death. How can you be the consciousness which is only seasonal? Krishna says, I am the splendor of all the eminent personages. Your devotion to me should be wholehearted. I am everywhere, and I am even the place where I reside. If you recognize your greatness in Krishna, who will be able to confirm it? It will be your consciousness, which is like the river Ganges. The sages always emphasize about the talker in us. What is he and how is he? They never believe us to be our body. What you see every morning on waking up is God itself. It happens without your desiring it. Once you recognize the eminent personage in you, it will be seen as the all-doer. Whatever happens and comes to your knowledge is because of it. Hold your consciousness firmly, without which there is no God. All this is your information. Listening to spiritual knowledge is of the greatest value, as it leads to self-knowledge. Your eminent personage that is caught in concepts becomes free by listening. That is the only way of removing all obstacles. Listening removes all bondages, including that of the body identity. Have full conviction that your consciousness is the active presence of your Guru in you. In order to erase the memory of being a human being, you must know that, due to which you know your existence. What is meant by waking? Thereby you come to know you are. The waking state means the appearance of Jnanadeva. What is in you as yourself is that. Your identification with the body has put him into difficulties. Surrender to your consciousness, which is your form. It means the consciousness has to surrender to itself. There is a description of thousands of eminent personages, all of which apply to your consciousness. Even to imagine yourself to be the body, you are using your consciousness, is it not? Maya and Ishvara are inseparable. In yoga, the prana is slowly brought into the aperture of Brahman in the crown of the head. In samadhi, there is no experience of any kind, including that of bliss. That is experienced only when the yogi comes down to the natural state. The highest purpose of yoga is realization of the self. The consciousness which listens to the Guru is an eminent personage of Ishvara, which is complete in itself. A real jnani gives only spiritual knowledge. If you follow your Guru properly and live as formless, pure consciousness, your success is certain. The 5 elements are pure and clean. With closed eyes, you are able to see a dark blue or dark black shade. It is an outcome of coming together of the 5 elements. You meditate and become one with that shade. You can imagine it to be an idol or an ocean. It's up to you. The knowledge that comes out of the Guru's mouth is the knowledge of Brahman. You should never forget his words. Various foods have various qualities, and their consumption affects the intellect accordingly. A seeker in earlier stages is recommended only sattva quality food, which is simple, fresh, vegetarian food. This restriction does not apply to advanced seekers. Your birth gives rise to a passing phase, whereas the unborn state is without a beginning and everlasting. Always meditate on yourself so that all the 4 speeches become quiet and the inner conflict comes to an end. This is a great worship which frees you of any blot due to experiences. This applies to all your past as well as future experiences. Your consciousness is nothing but Krishna. Because of His presence in you, you come to know your existence. Hence, through Krishna, it is you alone who says that all eminent personages are yours. In a living body, the consciousness and prana always coexist. The word or sound is due to prana, and Atma is silent. The waking state in the morning is the para speech, which is silent knowledge of your existence. The thoughts that flow in the mind are from para, impashyanti speeches. The power of prana is great, and the same as the primary illusion. Maya is now speaking about the eminent personages, but Atma is silent. One who never forgets the Guru's words becomes free of all problems. Hold firmly to your true nature as Brahman. One who is always aware of the Guru's words realizes Brahman. You are Atma, but not yet realized. You do not love the primary illusion, which is love itself. That is the love for existence of every living being. It is not a deliberate action, but only a natural happening. There is creation of love from love, and it has become a tradition. It is a free flow of love. We meet one another as a result of this self-love. The ancient tradition of this primary illusion is an ocean of love. All human creations are its result. When this love is properly recognized, you dislike the idea of any external help to sustain that love. All needs are of the bodies only. With true knowledge of this love, or of our consciousness, our bodiless nature becomes clear, which needs nothing. Then we become one with the world. The entire world is the light of our consciousness. If you wish to be free of all desires, meditate on your consciousness, which is listening right now. This knowledge is not shared so openly by others. There are only a few who know, and even they have to follow certain restrictions as per their pose of being a yogi or a sadhu. As I am nothing, I have the freedom of disclosing everything. What is the meaning of your search for knowledge? You have the urge to know the self. As long as you are ignorant, there will be the need to go to the temples to worship. Once you know your true nature, even the need for others' company will end. It should be enough to be with the self, needing nothing. The desire for the self should be strong and your earnestness at its peak. Your interest in mundane matters is an obstacle. There should be no desire even to learn various arts and have knowledge in other fields. Only then you have a clear way ahead. All other interests keep self away. One is delighted in whatever one likes, and that itself becomes one's destination. There cannot be any half-hearted approach to the self. The whole world is dwelling in your consciousness. One who is totally disinterested in anything of common interest is either a sage or a beast. Giving up all other spiritual interests, surrender to me alone, means forgetting everything else, step by step. Worship me means settle in yourself. At the moment, merely listen to this, and you will know its meaning when you get that experience. When there is devotion, there is love, and where there is love, there is devotion. As long as you believe body to be your form, the difference of mine and the other will exist. We know we are because of our consciousness. Worship it as your own self. Our consciousness is the quality of the body sattva, and all activities happen because of prana. The ears do not listen, and one who listens using the ears is not a human being. We feel that only the body is doing everything, which is a misunderstanding. The listener is self-luminous God himself. The light of Atma in us recognizes all other lights. As it is formless, it cannot be said to be small or big. It is occupying the whole space. I repeat here again that you should never lose awareness of your consciousness. As long as there is prana in the body, all witnessing happens to Atma. For Atma, there is no coming and going. You are Atma, but you have not yet realized it. You must live as Atma and do penance. Atma is one and the same in all. This is a fact which should be realized. One must have conviction of being consciousness itself. Then one knows that all names are one's own. Being sure of not being the body is to be a true devotee. Full contentment cannot come, even by conquering the world. That is possible only after self-realization, which is to be the self. You are not a human being. Just witness the working of the consciousness that is so spontaneous. Do not be restless by using your intellect. Do not have the feeling that you know the self. Only an idiot would do that. Remember, you can never be the known, but always the knower. What is temporary cannot be real, as the reality does not have temporary existence. It alone exists, and all happening is because of it. First, get convinced that you are not a human being. There is no real time other than your concept of time. If you are convinced about it, you will be unaffected by the functioning of your body and its qualities. There was sprouting of the seed of consciousness which grew in the form of this world. In the initial stages, a devotee does not leave God, and in the later stages, he requests God to leave. But God sticks to him. When consciousness becomes one with devotion, their separation is not possible. If that becomes your nature and you become one with everything, where's the question of holding on to one thing and leaving another? Para Brahman is that which is beyond all illusion. It is also called Paramatma. It is the secret of all secrets and can be realized only when there are no thoughts. The use of thoughts only binds the thinker, serving no useful purpose. Who does not want full contentment? But it is impossible when one believes himself or herself to be the body. The full contentment is the natural result of realization of one's true nature. With body identity, the fear of death increases day by day. The ignorant are troubled by their false concepts of past and future births. With birth of true knowledge, there is an end to all concepts. In the body, Paramatma enjoys full freedom with no limitations. All coverings were imagined later on. The Absolute is alone without any ideation. The universe has been nicely painted by the consciousness which is the light of self. It needs no correction at all. We must know our true worth and behave accordingly. But behavior and activity do not apply to the self. All your activity with your body identity is always incomplete. It cannot bring in true prosperity for a long duration. All the four kinds of speech are the result of the light, luster of the self. This is the description of the self in the body, as it cannot be forgotten there is no question of remembering it. It is the knower of all memories, but can never be known. You are not a human being, and if you accept as being one, all the human laws will apply to you. Hence, stay away from it. To have conviction of being Atma, which is full in all respects, is to be the Self. Your consciousness is full of self-love, which is self-luminous and devoted to itself. You should be able to remain without the constant memory of the body. When you say that you are pure consciousness, you cannot give any illustration of the material world to match it. Also, you cannot give any illustration to explain what Paramatma is. By adhering to the Guru's words, it should become very clear to you that you are beyond darkness and light, waking and sleeping, and also beyond thirst and hunger. Since when do you accept all these things? It is since the appearance of your mind, which believes in being a human being. When there is nothing, the knower of that state is Paramatma. Being full, he is without desires. He has no needs. Then why do you have your present needs? You think you are the body and want to protect it. Your body identity is a sin, and you have to take all the trouble as a punishment. You can be free of all problems by living as the consciousness. The knower of all is without beginning and not a creation of time. One has to experience one's true nature, which has no death. You should read the book Amrutanubhava by sage Jnaneshwara to ascertain whether your own experience tallies with his. You must have such a great faith in your Guru that his presence should be felt within you. If not, you are bound to face a miserable death. You must develop conviction about the changeless without any need to assert it. You must realize the truth of the Guru's words. Then the dreadful death of all will become an experience of immortality for you. The bliss of a sage, while dropping the body, cannot be described by words. He is a true yogi who realizes his eternal nature. You are doing all the traditional activities to please your relatives, friends, and society. This is necessary to avoid isolation as an outcast. Despite these activities, let the inner impressions formed by the Guru's words remain intact. Becoming free of thoughts, discriminate what is aloneness. The idea of death accompanies the identification with the body. Even the great Bhishma of Mahabharata was not an exception to this. The case of Arjuna was just the opposite. His samadhi remained undisturbed even during war. The chanting of mantras should go on continuously in order to get rid of bad thoughts. These thoughts indicate the impurities covering the truth. With their removal, the truth will open up in all clarity. At the end, free of all words, the nameless and formless self attains quietude. That was its state prior to the disturbance created by the I amness identifying with the body. With the purification of the mind, the power of sattva becomes clear. Can you tell as to who experiences the dream and how? Our consciousness is the quality of sattva, and we must see ourselves clearly. What is concealed and invisible is called an embryo, or as garbha in Marathi. Hiranyagarbha, or the golden embryo, means many thoughts in dormant condition. Its knower is Mahatma, or a great soul. He finally becomes one with the space which is the subtlest of all elements. All the qualities of the 5 elements flow as mind due to your pure sattva. All human activities are due to these elements. All the qualities of the 5 elements get stored in the earth, resulting in the sprouting of vegetation. The astral body or your consciousness is due to the food juices on the earth. Without food there is neither the consciousness nor the prana. In the body there are your hands, legs, head, heart, etc. But where are you exactly? How can you be the body? The body is a continuation of the 5 elements, and their knower is Paramatma, who is free of ideation. Do you spare and reserve time to sit quietly? If you are not the body, why give undue importance to its preservation? The knower remains a knower and never the known. In Paramatma there are none of the 5 elements, even in a minute quantity. When you live in tune with Paramatma, the ringing of the 5 elements in atomic form will become clear to you. What will you meditate on? You have to meditate on your true nature prior to the body and after its appearance. Your manifestation is because of the body. You are not it. As long as you get disturbed by appearances, there is no realization. Total freedom is to be free of all hopes and desires for our well-being. The knower of consciousness is not consciousness. For the knower, nothing remains a secret. Why should we sacrifice our fullness by taking too much interest in the body which is going to perish? Our existence is very short, like a season. When it is over, no experience will remain. Do not try to know the knower, but only exclude all that you are not. Also remember, you cannot be that which can be forgotten. Caught in the vortex of body-mind. In case you have really understood what is being said here, what are you? With true knowledge, your pain and pleasure will end. But the identification with the body does not go easily, as is the case of any habit. With its departure, your work is done. The various scenes appear and soon disappear. What does not last is called Maya. Just as fire needs fuel, your consciousness needs food juices. Similar to fire getting extinguished right there, the consciousness becomes non-conscious just there, as there is none to die. Can the fire go to heaven or hell? You have to understand that all your concepts and your present condition are due to your association and attachment to body. After realization, one is in the Omani state, in which there is neither the waking nor sleeping. What is the difference between the dream state and Omani? In the first you are active, but only a witness in the second. Without really becoming quiet, the Omani state cannot be experienced. When the mental modifications cease, what remains is pure being. That is like a steady flame of an oil lamp. Then there are no thoughts, no mind, but only pure being. Most spiritual practices are only to train the mental modifications. When the body is no more your proof of existence, the other minor difficulties do not matter. That state is termed Ishvara or Brahman. The consciousness being a quality, where can it go? Can one attain Paramatma by effort? Hence, be as you truly are. Your beingness, which is due to the 5 elements, will ultimately merge into them. Can there be any questions when you are not conscious of the body-mind? Are the thoughts yours or of your mind? They come from your mind. Even if there is any quarrel, that is also of your mind. and not yours. If you remain aloof, you are unconcerned with the quarrel. The knowledge of Brahman can only happen to Brahman and not to a human being. It is beyond human capacity. With your oneness with Brahman, the speech ceases. Without separation, the speech cannot start. This separation itself is the mental modification. A man caught in a vortex gets drowned. Only a rare one dives deeper and swims sideways to come out of the vortex. You have also been caught in a vortex of body-mind. You have to dive deeper into the Guru's teachings and free yourself. Now, consider the words beingness, mental modifications, and free of ideation. The beingness is Brahman. The mental modifications are Maya, and free of ideation is Parabrahman. The beingness means consciousness, mental modifications means mind, and free of ideation means no witnessing at all. All examples are only to convince the mind they do not apply to the Absolute. Paramatma is beyond all description and examples. Maya means appearance of self-love, from which the 5 elements in all existence appear. All examples apply to the 5 elements, without which we cannot know our existence. The Absolute is virgin. The consciousness spontaneously appears in the body, and we cannot say as to who it is who becomes conscious. The consciousness identifies with the body on its own. The great reality manifests as self-love. We cannot say as to who has self-love. With it appears the whole universe. The self-love means our consciousness, which occupies the entire universe. All its growth is on its own. A small speck in the original sattva becomes the knower. Only a rare one looks into the cause of consciousness as to what it is made of. The earnest seeker sees clearly how luminous is his life and existence. You should be in that state where there is no experience of even a word, where there is no mind. You are in the Omani state, absorbed in the divine. What is it? By knowing which even idiots are worshipped as great men. He has known the great reality. The seer is not perceivable by the sense organs. You like the sense objects and you get absorbed in them. As a result, you give no attention to the knower of all. The world and all existence appear to be true, but they are as real as a dream. As they are all temporary, they are unreal. You are attracted to the things which you perceive, but truth cannot be perceived, of which no experience is possible. Your self-love is because of your consciousness, the knower which is beyond all qualities. The chanting of Jaya Guru mantra pleases it, opening up the secret of consciousness. With true knowledge of consciousness, you will know yourself as without attributes. Mind means Maya, or illusion, which leads to mental modifications. The existence is full of fear, but this fear does not touch a true devotee of a guru. He receives help from everywhere. The power of consciousness serves its knower. To know the cause of consciousness is its real propitiation, which completes one's purpose of existence. Without self-knowledge, there cannot be lasting tranquility. Why should one meditate, and what are the tools needed for it? Is it not your child consciousness which is used for meditating, and the purpose is to know the origin of consciousness? Consciousness is always felt in the present moment, and with it your life begins every moment. The consciousness is ever new, moment to moment. Meditation means stabilizing in consciousness. It means to be in the present moment precisely. Your own worries torture you. Being with consciousness is to be free of thoughts. At the end, this consciousness sets wherever it has risen from. It does not go anywhere, as it is already present everywhere in the vast expanse. When you remember the Guru and chant his name, the inner Guru is propitiated and opens up all secret knowledge right from the root, leaving no room for any ignorance. Consciousness is Atma, the king. The origin is the same for everyone. The only difference is in signs of birth. This is the effect of the difference in food bodies made of the 5 elements. Hence the style of speech differs from person to person. We have to face the activities of the elements as our destiny. Although the final goal is the same for all, everyone has a different opinion. In deep sleep, all are alike, but the differences appear on waking up in the morning. When the food body is ready, its sattva quality gives rise to the sense of being of the living being. As consciousness is one and the same, which cannot be divided, the existence of different living forms is unreal. We have no end, although the qualities are bound to dissolve. A jnani is a knower of jnana or consciousness, which is not his form. You know a sage by his form, name, and teachings. But to know him correctly, you have to go beyond all qualities. In order to become fit for self-knowledge, you should be free of mental modification and be steady. To consider the body as one's form is ignorance. Our true identity, which is not the body, is without any bondage. Hence it is a sin to identify with the body. In the body, the appearance of prana and consciousness is simultaneous. When prana leaves, the consciousness vanishes. The ignorant takes this as his death. The food body provides energy to both prana and consciousness. The consciousness means guru and prana means speech. Without the ability to speak, there is no consciousness. And without the latter, there is no prana. Now, tell me whether you believe yourself to be your body. Your behavior is based on the qualities of the 5 elements. Your experiences due to this behavior are called your destiny. The Guru's words instill life in spirituality. In the presence of consciousness, prana supplies energy to the body to act. Whatever happens should be seen as a dream. It means the pure consciousness is only a witness to the activities of the body-mind. The witness has no part to play in any activity. It is only pure being. In the absence of the full knowledge of consciousness and prana, the desires and cravings will remain. With true knowledge, all needs come to an end. Then there is no bondage for you. Even after knowing all this, do your work efficiently. Serve and worship your family members like God. Only do not expect anything in return from them. You must have the correct knowledge of prana and consciousness, which enables you to transcend consciousness. Then, the difference between contentment and one who is contented will end. There is a strong desire to live longer and longer. The consciousness in the body is King Atma, and prana serves it. Anything becomes possible by regular practice. In the beginning, it is difficult to drop the identification with the body. Repeat frequently that you are not your body, and it will turn into your actual experience.